Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this press conference. My name is Ash Williams. I use he and they pronouns. That's ASHWILLIAMS. I'm one of the core organizers of Charlotte Uprising. We thought it was really important to have this press conference today to address a few different things. I'm gonna stick to my points, right? And so I have to name Breonna Taylor first, and I'd actually like for us to just pause. Thank you. So we thought that it was important to have this press conference today, not only because of what happened with Breonna Taylor yesterday and the people who were not in trouble for murdering her, which is exactly what they did. On Monday, 26 folks were arrested. Some of those folks are behind me right now for mutual aid, for supporting the community, and for doing community care. There was a sit-in. I'm not going to appeal to the peaceful, this idea that we were peaceful, right? And there was a sit-in where people were not talking or doing anything other than sitting in silence. And if they were saying anything, then what we were saying is that jail support is essential. I think that folks got an opportunity to pass out a few bottles of water and snacks to both people who were being released and people who were passing us that day. And then folks were brutally arrested by officers of the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Department. So we're here to say that that action of the Sheriff's Department is egregious. We're here to say that community care and mutual aid is not a crime, and we're tired of people being harassed and locked up and arrested with no cause for providing that kind of care. I'm also here this afternoon to say that what happened in Louisville, Kentucky, and the realities that BLM Louisville is facing as they are mobilizing folks into the streets, it is not disconnected from what's happening here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Regionally, right, we're kind of in the same region, but beyond that, we're talking about communities that have experienced institutional police violence, incoherent police violence every single day. And so since 2016, Charlotte Uprising has been saying no more. And so we're here again at this press conference to say no more. And we're also standing with members of the SEAC Village and folks who used to stand across the street here and provide jail support 24 hours and 7 days a week.
Hello, my name is Mariah Davis, and I take she and her pronouns. I came here today to speak the truth about what the deputies and officers have been doing when the revolution is not being televised. It angers me to see how the media and the sheriffs constantly portray jail support and my people in a bad light when the work we are doing is community care. Mutual aid is not a crime.
Yes. That's right.
I started volunteering with jail support a few months ago. Jail support is a transformative abolitionist space where we are practicing community love and support. Jail support has never been about physical location, but more so the village that it has become. Throughout the 106 days that jail support was across from Mecklenburg County Jail support has given rides, food, drinks, clothing, first aid supplies, and even allowed folks to sleep in the space because that is where they feel the safest. The city of Charlotte is not providing free resources for its community members. Jail support is an alternative to relying on the state and its bureaucratic red tape. People deserve support when they are released from jail. When Sheriff McFadden sent out the deputies to dismantle jail support on September 11th, I was angry, frustrated, and sad. I felt all of these emotions raging inside of my body because I was worried about where the houseless folks were going to lay their head at night, how are folks who come by for food and water going to eat, and how are folks coming out of the jail who may need to use a phone to call someone and can't. I was also upset because not only did deputies dismantle jail support, they arrested our volunteers who occupied the space and also took our supplies and only returned some of them. But I knew that after jail support was dismantled, we had to respond. We had to make a statement and let them know that jail support is essential and community care is not a crime. Do you hear what I'm saying? Community care is not a crime. And we did just that. Monday, my comrades did a sit-in in front of the Mecklenburg County Jail, putting their bodies on the line because community care is that important. And demanded to be able to show up for our community on our own terms. During this sit-in, my comrades were surrounded by sheriff deputies. The deputies arrested 26 of our folks. People that were filmed and not participating in the sit-in were arrested. Public defenders and legal aid spectating for the protesters' safety and rights. This was unacceptable and uncalled for. After arresting our comrades, folks were sitting in jail for 10 plus hours with no food, no water. Only one person was allowed a phone call and not even hand soap to wash their hands as we're in the midst of a pandemic. That is disgusting and inhumane, and y'all should be shameful. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
Say that.
Jail Support has experienced ongoing surveillance, threats, and physical violence at the hands of police. We know exactly what Jail Support is and everything that we stand for, yet Sheriff McFadden continues to paint a false representation of Jail Support, all because he does not like the look of it. McFadden, I am here to let you know that what you are saying about Jail Support is wrong. You only care about the optics rather than the people who need free resources. You hung a Black Lives Matter sign with your fist in the air for a photo, yet continuously bringing out your deputies to tear down what we have been building and have never made yourself present during any of these raids. Stop saying Black Lives Matter when clearly they do not matter to you. Stop saying you agree with Jail Support when you work for a system that was never meant to protect my people. Jail Support was never hijacked. You just don't like the fact that we called out the system for what it is. You and your deputies and CMPD do not serve and protect. The system you work for continues to take Black lives at the hands of police. Breonna Taylor, Keith Lamont Scott, Justin Carr, Trayvon Martin, Elijah McCain, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Tony McDade, and so many others have lost their lives because of the violence that the white supremacist system perpetrates. They should all still be here because their lives matter. Again, I am here today because I am angry. Jail Support is my community, my people, my village. I feel the safest when I'm surrounded by them. I am tired of my village continuously experiencing violence at the hands of the state. I will continue to stand up and fight with and for my people, and I will close this by saying community care is not a crime. Jail Support is essential. Drop the charges and end cash bail now. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jalen Houston, Jalyn, last name Houston, Houston, and I take she and her pronouns. This is very emotional for me to talk about. But not because of what happened to me, but because I got a grain of rice-sized glimpse of what happens to people for days, on months, on years in that jail. I was arrested at 10:47 a.m. on Monday morning. I was not released until 12:45 a.m. the next morning. At no point did I have any food, and the only access to water we had was a communal water fountain that was not cleaned in between uses inside of a COVID-riddled jail. When I sat in there, I watched so many horrible things happen. I watched one of my comrades become sick from a panic attack while the medical professionals sat and watched over her as if it was a joke. I saw friends being pushed and physically attacked for absolutely no reason. And I saw slavery in real time.
Say that. Tell the truth.
I saw people pushing mops and cleaning bathrooms and getting paid little to nothing just so they can legally say it's not slavery. Making $3 a week to work while sheriffs sat in chairs and watched over them like overseers. Nothing has changed. They've only changed the name. We watched slavery in real time. Some of you may or may not know, but out of the 26 people arrested, I was the only one with a secured bond.
Talk about it.
This was my first offense, and I had one of the lowest bails and some of the least descriptive charges. The magistrate, T.M. Jenkins, had a personal vendetta against me because I refused to police the emotions of my friends who had been arrested. She also asked me my place of work, something I do not have to answer, and threatened me with my freedom when I said I did not want to answer that question. When I went back and got my paperwork after seeing about 15 people having unsecured bonds, I saw that mine was secured. I asked Magistrate T.M. Jenkins, why was I the only one with a secured bond?
Why?
Especially that I had no other previous charges.
Right.
She looked me in the eye and told me, because you didn't want to answer my question. I went back in the cell with my comrades, but eventually I came to where they were going to dress me out and send me upstairs. A few hours later, I suspect, because you don't know what time it is in there, they came and told me that my bond had been processed. Okay. And that they would not take me upstairs because my bond had been processed. So I went back and sat, and I waited, knowing that my comrades had already taken care of me, and I watched several other people leave. And finally, I asked, after maybe 5 other hours, what's going on? They told me, oh, the magistrate messed up your paperwork and she's left. So we're trying to get in contact with her. So I'm sitting there in a cage, having done everything I was supposed to do. None of us should have been arrested in the first place for practicing our civil duty to speak out against injustices. But after doing everything I was supposed to do, signing my paperwork, answering questions, having my bail paid, I still had to sit because of a clerical error. And personally, I don't think that clerical error was a mistake. Again, I was in there for 14 hours. Many hours I was by myself. Imagine being in there for 24, 48, 72, 100 days, 365 days, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't do it. It's inhumane. It is cruel. And it is disgusting. We need to abolish the police, abolish the jails, abolish the prison system, abolish the plantations. And we will not stop until they are gone. Thank you.
My name is Emily, E-M-I-L-Y. On Monday, I was unlawfully arrested while standing on the sidewalk of public property that my taxes paid for. I was not a part of the protest. I was simply doing my civic duty to record injustices at the hands of the sheriff department against community members simply trying to provide community aid. Their only crime was passing out applesauce and Gatorades to community members. When individuals who walked out of the courthouse asked me, "What's going on? Why are these people sitting over there?" I said, "Oh, they volunteer with jail support and they're here to pass out snacks, offer rides to those who are recently released, and just any type of support that they can manage to anyone in the community." And you know what they said? They said, "Oh, hell yes. They said, yes, that's dope shit that you're doing. And I said, yeah, and look at what these sheriffs are doing. It's literally only maybe 20 of them. Why is it a whole squad of 50 people surrounding them? I had sheriffs get in my face yelling at me to back the fuck up without a mask. One who deliberately refused to put on a mask and said, I don't have to listen to Roy Cooper. And then after, they dragged people away for sitting. I was told, you need to move. Even though earlier they stated, you either stand here or you stand there, but don't get any closer. So when I asked and said, I don't have to move from public property. Why are you telling me I need to leave from public property? He simply pointed at me and said, get her. My phone was knocked out of my hand. I was aggressively turned around and handcuffed for no absolute reason. I did nothing. And now I have 3 offenses charged against me. I was in that cell for hours. And when they arrested me, I told them, I have a disability. I have my medication in my bag. I need to take my medication. The arresting officer said, they'll give you your medicine when you're inside. I was in a holding cell alongside my friend who has diabetes. I told the nurse upon entry, I have a disability. My medication is in my bag that I was arrested in. I told them the name, the milligrams, and I said, please, I need to have this. They said, yeah, we'll get you taken care of. Hours later, me still yelling, banging, I need my medication. Please give me my medicine, because I could feel my panic attack arising. If it weren't for my comrades in that cell, I don't know what would have happened to me. They banged, they screamed, we need a nurse, we need a nurse, she needs her medicine. They came in to pull out the white woman. She said, what are you doing? I'm not the one who called for the nurse. I'm not the one who needs the nurse. My friend laying down over there, who's clearly having a panic attack, is the one who needs the nurse. The officer said, oh, she'll see a nurse and get her medication once she's processed. I had already been processed. And once they were informed of that, they said, oh, well, she has to see the magistrate first. The nurse told me, once they finally let me see her, I have to go by the orders of the magistrate. I can't give you anything unless directed by the magistrate. The magistrate said, I'm sorry, I don't know why you're haven't been given your medication and why you've been denied your phone call. I did not receive my medication until I walked out of that jail. Not before having an extreme anxiety attack in which I was curled up on the floor, throwing up into a trash can, begging and pleading. They wouldn't allow anyone to come out to sit with me, whom they had witnessed trying to help calm me down. They stood over me and watched me as if I was an animal in a cage on display at the zoo. The nurse sat across from me and said, I can't give you anything. I'm not giving you anything. You just need to calm down. I begged and pleaded. I said, can I at least get a phone call to call a loved one? Can I at least have that? She didn't even say to me. She said to the officers nearby, she's gonna be processed to get out of here, so I don't know why she keeps asking for a phone call. She doesn't need a phone call. As I'm still curled up on the ground, tears crying, running down my face, hyperventilating, here comes a mental health doctor who's standing over me because he got annoyed because the nurse was telling him I refused to answer any of her questions, even though I told her the necessary information she needed to know. He then began to stand over me, puts his finger in my face, and yells at me, "You need to calm down. You need to stop yelling. You're gonna be getting out of here, so I don't know why you're freaking out." Last time I checked, in any type of medical profession, especially in the mental health world, that is unexcusable behavior. That is not protocol. You don't treat a human being who is clearly exhibiting distress in such a manner. So why did that happen to me? I never got my meds. I never got my phone call. And they had the audacity to ask me as they walked me out, "Do you have a way home? You can use the phone in the lobby to call someone." I was taken in before 11 a.m. I was not released until after 3, almost 4 in the afternoon. I had no one to call. Had it not been for familiar faces I saw, I would have had to walk home. Abolish these jails, abolish this carceral plantation system, because why the fuck are you treating individuals who are in extreme distress, who clearly have disabilities, who clearly pose no threat, as if they're nothing but scum on this earth?
Thank you, Emily. The message is clear, folks. We're not going to stop. Abolish the police. There are people who are being dehumanized every single day who have to enter the Mecklenburg County jail, but all types of places of incarceration. So we have to abolish those too. We also have to abolish the cops in our mind, right? And the places inside of that seek to control and dominate others and ourselves. We're here to say that mutual aid is not a crime and that we should be able to do jail support. This is a call out to the DA. Drop the charges against the protesters and drop the charges against anyone who's ever done jail support. What's happening should not be criminalized. What's happening is not criminal or a crime. These people are showing up for others and they deserve to be able to do that. The folks who are inside deserve to be met with smiles and rides and food and anything else that we have to give. So you've heard it here, you've heard it many times. We're not gonna stop showing up to do jail support. We're not gonna stop taking up space. We're not gonna stop talking about the ways in which injustices that happen here and in Louisville, Kentucky, and in New York City and in Oakland, California are always already connected. It's time, y'all. Abolish the police. Abolish the jail. How many more black people have to die?
Do y'all feel good?
Who keeps